Imagine this, if you will. The very heart of Odisha's forest department. Aranya Bhawan, bustling one moment and then just complete standstill. This wasn't, just any ordinary day. It was September 1st, 2025. Something pretty extraordinary unfolded, an event that really pulsed with urgency, a deeply human struggle.
Yeah, and what's truly striking here isn't just, well, the location itself. It's the sheer force of humanity that turned up. 5,000 contractual forest workers. That's a massive number. They made their presence felt absolutely undeniable, demanding to be heard. It was a really powerful statement for people who often, remain in the shadows.
And that's exactly what we've been diving into, trying to piece together the untold story here. Why did these individuals, these brave people, feel they had to converge on a government building like that, risking everything? So our mission today is to unpack their fight, the fight for job security, for dignity, and what that struggle really means for the forests they protect, which are vital and ultimately, well, for all of us.
And this raises a really important question, doesn't it? Beyond just the immediate drama of the protest, what are the deeper lessons here? What can we actually learn about the true human cost of conservation? And maybe just as crucially, in this world saturated with information, how does a story like this, one that feels so critical, so resonant, how does it manage to cut through all that noise and actually land?
Just settle in.
Yeah.
Because we're going to try and reveal not just what happened back then in Odisha, but why it still echoes, why it has meaning for you. And also look at the ways these powerful stories are shaped, crafted to make sure they don't just fade away, but truly resonate. Let's really try and place ourselves back in that moment, September 1st, 2025. Aranya Bhawan in Odisha. This is the administrative hub, right? The nerve center of the forest department.
Yeah.
And it experienced something. Well, people call it a storming. Not violent, maybe, but an overwhelming, passionate surge. 5,000 contractual forest workers. Just imagine the sheer volume of voices there. The sea of green uniforms. The tension must have been palpable, right? As this huge group asserted its presence, you could almost feel the raw emotion, the desperation, maybe, and the collective will behind it all. It turned a routine Monday into something completely unprecedented. A day of protest.
Absolutely. And it's so vital to understand who these 5,000 people actually are. They are, in every single sense, the unsung heroes of conservation. They're the bedrock of Odisha's environmental work. These are the men and women on the absolute front lines, patrolling huge, often really treacherous areas day in, day out.
Right. Not an easy job.
Not at all. Their work involves direct, often perilous encounters with wildlife. I mean, facing down agitated elephants protecting their young, or navigating dense jungles where leopards and other predators roam. They're the first line of defense against illegal logging, against poaching, often working in isolation in remote, really unforgiving conditions. They're putting their lives on the line, protecting our planet's green lungs. Without them, frankly, the integrity, the future of Odisha's rich forest ecosystems, it would just crumble.
And this is where the story becomes, well, profoundly heartbreaking, I think. Can you actually wrap your mind around dedicating your life to that kind of work, dangerous, essential work? Facing those daily threats, only to earn a mere Rs 12,000 a month.
It's staggering.
Let's just put that into perspective for a second. In many parts of India, that amount, it barely covers rent for a modest place, maybe in a semi-urban area. It leaves so little for food, for kids' school fees, for basic medical care. It's a sum that forces families into this perpetual state of just precariousness. It strips away dignity, any hope for a stable future. This meager pay isn't just a number on a slip. It's a stark reflection of a huge societal disconnect, isn't it? Between how vital their work is and the value we actually place on their lives, their livelihoods.
That's right. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, their core demands, well, they seem straightforward, but they carry immense weight. They weren't asking for luxuries. They were asking for fundamental human rights within their job security, and fair, livable wages. Exactly. The basics. This isn't just about a paycheck, though. It's a profound fight for stability, for recognition, for the basic dignity that any essential worker deserves, frankly. They're looking to move beyond that constant threat of their contract just ending, to secure a future where their dedication, their dangerous dedication to conservation, is actually rewarded justly, respected, so they can provide for their families without this constant fear hanging over them. It really speaks to a systemic problem,
Right.
where the very guardians of our natural heritage are themselves fighting for basic human security.
So what does this all mean for us? Not just people in Odisha, but, well, globally. When the voices of these 5,000 dedicated forest workers go unheard, the ripple effects, they go far beyond their own families. their morale, their ability to even do their jobs effectively. That directly impacts the health and the future of Odisha's forests. And these are incredibly biodiverse forests.
Critically important ecosystems.
Right. And when those ecosystems are compromised, it affects everything from local biodiversity right up to global climate regulation. This whole scenario just powerfully underscores what we sometimes call the human cost of conservation. It's a stark reminder that protecting the environment is intrinsically linked to social justice. We just can't expect people to tirelessly protect our shared natural world if they themselves are fighting for their own fundamental right to exist with dignity.
And with a story this potent, this crucial, the underlying question becomes, well, how do you make sure it doesn't just happen and fade away? How do you guarantee it actually lands? That it reaches the right eyes and ears in our, let's face it, perpetually crowded digital world?
Yeah, that's the challenge.
This is where the art of strategic communication becomes absolutely critical, transforming an important local event like this into an impactful, resonant narrative,
Yeah.
one that demands broader attention and, hopefully action.
That's a critical point, cutting through the noise. So let's dive into that. The blueprint for amplifying a story like this. Focusing on those strategic layers of digital communication. Take this example title we looked at. Why 5,000 forest workers stormed Aranya Bhawan. Odisha's fight for job security revealed. It feels like a masterclass in intent. When you craft something like that, what's the thinking behind the specific words, the structure?
Well, the real insight here isn't just, keyword stuffing. It's about understanding how specific terms connect this story with the people who can actually make a difference. Words like Aranya Bhawan, Odisha, forest workers, they make it instantly discoverable for anyone actively searching for info on the protest. That's the baseline.
Okay, findability.
Right, but the strategy goes deeper. It's about making sure NGOs, journalists, even policymakers who are searching for, say, regional labor disputes or environmental issues in India immediately find this specific narrative.
Gotcha. And beyond just being found, what about making someone actually want to click? That urgency you mentioned.
Exactly. The choice of an emotive word like stormed, it's not really about sensationalism. It's about conveying the desperate collective intensity of what happened. It immediately sparks curiosity, right? Why did they storm it? What pushed them to that point?
Makes you lean in.
Yeah. And revealed promises insight. Like you're getting the inside story, a look behind the headlines. And the number 5,000, that's incredibly powerful. It's not just many workers, it's specific. It adds immense weight, credibility.
Whereas scale matters.
Definitely. And strategically, keeping titles concise, impactful, it ensures the core message hits home instantly. It doesn't get cut off in search results. It tells you immediately what profound issue you're about to dive into.
Okay, so the title grabs you. Then the description has to pull you deeper. How does an opening like discover the untold story of 5,000 contractual forest workers who brought Odisha's Aranya Bhawan to a standstill on September 1st, 2025, demanding job security and fair pay? How does that work? It's magic?
Well, first off, it hooks you straight away with a compelling summary. It makes you want to learn more. It gives you just enough critical information to grasp the gravity, but without giving the whole story away. It's storytelling through precision. And it's also meticulously crafted for discoverability, weaving in keywords like Odisha forest workers, job security, conservation, not just to show up in searches, but to be found by specific communities, labor rights activists, environmental groups, human rights organizations, people who can amplify the message further, maybe offer support or advocacy.
Right, reaching the right people.
And what's also crucial, especially for a detailed story like this one, is using timestamps strategically. Think of them like signposts, helping you navigate the story's journey, creating chapters like 0000 intro, the protest that shook Bhubaneswar, or 6.20 key demands, job security and compensation. It lets you, the listener, navigate the different parts easily. It respects your time.
Lets you jump around if needed.
Exactly. Allows you to jump to points you're particularly interested in. It ensures you stay engaged instead of feeling overwhelmed. And then you have the explicit calls to action. These aren't just polite suggestions. They're vital prompts asking for likes, comments, shares, subscriptions. They're designed to turn passive listening into active participation, which, by the way, algorithms absolutely prioritize. It fosters this sense of collective responsibility, sustained engagement for the cause itself.
Building on that, hashtags are another critical layer, aren't they? Ensuring the story finds its champions. We're talking about tags like hashtag Odisha forest workers, hashtag Aranya Bhawan protest, hashtag job security, hashtag forest conservation. How do these actually work to amplify the message?
They're basically about creating pathways, not just to general audiences, but to specific invested communities.
Hmm.
The relevance and niche targeting here are key. These specific tags ensure the story reaches the most interested groups. Maybe local news outlets, specific activist groups, research institutions focused on sustainable development in that region.
Targeted reach.
Precisely. But then strategically, you also broaden that reach with tags like hashtag environmental justice and hashtag India labor rights. This connects what might seem like a local struggle to a much larger global conversation. It compels bigger organizations, perhaps international bodies, to pay attention, potentially intervene. It fosters this broader understanding that these individual fights are often part of a larger, interconnected global effort for dignity and sustainability.
Okay, so we've got the words title, description, hashtags.
Yeah.
But beyond the text, what about visual elements? How crucial are they for grabbing attention instantly, conveying that urgency?
Oh, hugely crucial. What's fascinating here is how a single powerful image can just scream urgency. It tells a story even before you read a word. Imagine a really striking thumbnail. Maybe a sea of forest workers in their green uniforms, or a powerful shot of Aranya Bhawan surrounded by this human tide, or even a dramatic, emotionally resonant moment from the protest itself, paired with bold, impactful text like 5,000 workers.
Catches the eye immediately.
Exactly. It's not just about looking good, it's about conveying the humanity and the sheer scale of the protest at a glance. It directly influences whether someone stops scrolling and actually clicks to learn more. And we've learned, haven't we, that those first 10, maybe 15 seconds of any compelling story are just paramount, starting with a gripping, immediate intro, something punchy like, on September 1st, 5,000 workers shut down Odisha's forest headquarters, demanding what they are owed. That's crucial. It's about hooking the listener immediately, emotionally, or intellectually, creating that unbreakable connection so they don't just click away, reduces bounce rates, keeps them engaged from the start,
Keeps that audience retention high.
which algorithms love, yes. And this raises an important question, too. How do you keep that engagement going throughout? It's about actively inviting participation, using prompts within the narrative itself, like, what do you think about the forest workers' demands? Share your thoughts below. These interactive verbal calls to action are vital for driving deeper engagement, fostering that sense of community around the issue.
And to really encourage people to explore further beyond just this one piece. We also see smart use of things like cards and end screens and videos or links and show notes. How do those help build a bigger picture?
Yeah, those are about creating a continuous learning journey, really.
Yeah.
By linking to related content, maybe it's other labor movements in India or deeper dives into the specific environmental challenges facing Odisha, they encourage you to explore further. It's like building pathways through the information, creating a more comprehensive understanding of how social and environmental issues are all interconnected. And ultimately, that can deepen your commitment to the cause itself.
And of course, behind all this visible strategy, there has to be a consistent dedication to telling these stories.
Yeah. Absolutely. Consistent storytelling is critical, especially if you're focusing on social or environmental issues. It builds trust. It builds a dedicated audience over time. And you couple that with rigorous analytics monitoring, tracking those metrics, click-through rate, audience retention, engagement levels. Creators can then understand what truly resonates, what actually moves people. This data isn't just numbers, it's feedback. It allows them to refine their approach, ensuring these vital stories aren't just told, but continuously find their mark and maybe evolve their impact for ongoing advocacy.
Ultimately, all these content strategies, they aren't just, random tactics pulled out of a hat. They align profoundly with how the major digital platforms' algorithms actually function today in 2025. They prioritize metrics that reflect genuine viewer engagement. It really is all about achieving a high click-through rate to get people watching in the first place, keeping audience retention strong so they stay absorbed, fostering genuine engagement through comments, shares, and ensuring relevance so the right people find it. These aren't just buzzwords, are they? They are the strategic pillars that ensure your voice. And critical stories like the one from Odisha truly break through all the digital noise. They ensure that efforts to raise awareness aren't just whispers in the wind, but clear, resounding shouts that demand attention and, well, hopefully, lead to action. So we've journeyed from that brave collective protest at Aranya Bhawan back on September 1st, 2025, fueled by the demands of 5,000 forest workers fighting for dignity, for fair pay, all the way to understanding the intricate, powerful strategies that help crucial narratives like theirs not just exist, but actually find their audience and spark real, meaningful engagement in this digital age.
Yeah, and if we connect this back to the bigger picture, It just reminds us, doesn't it, of that profound, often overlooked human element behind environmental protection. It really highlights the continuous, vital fight for justice in jobs that are essential, absolutely essential, yet so frequently undervalued. Their struggle, in so many ways, is directly connected to the very air we breathe, the biodiversity we cherish, the sustainable world we hope to protect. These stories are such a powerful testament to how crucial it is to bring human experiences and that quest for justice right to the forefront of conservation
Okay,
efforts.
here's where it gets really interesting, I think, and maybe a question for you to ponder as we wrap up this deep dive. As we gain these invaluable insights into the true cost of conservation and the sheer power of strategic communication, what role do we play? As informed listeners, as global citizens, what role do we play in ensuring the stories of these unsung heroes, these guardians of our forests, are not just heard, but are truly acted upon? What can your engagement, your awareness, your voice actually do to amplify their calls for change?